A very short reading tonight, and this is one of those little readings, these little vignettes that we find in the Gospel, that sometimes they just float past. You know, we all know about the tree thrown in the ocean. You know, it's one of those things, like Good Samaritan and all those other things, and we often think, what is there new that we can learn about it? It only appears in the Gospel of Luke, and I've just already mucked up the filming by wandering too far out of the page. But I'll try my best, I really will. It's one of those little short readings in Scripture that is attached to something else, because it goes on with a rather sort of heavy bit of reading, saying to people basically, don't expect to be getting credit for something that you should be doing. But we're not going to look at that tonight. We're going to have a look at this fabulous little short reading about the mustard seed and the uprooted mulberry tree. Now, planting trees in the sea seems and sounds like a pretty clownish exercise. Do you agree with that? It's a bit ludicrous, a bit silly. Yeah? Much of Scripture's like that, isn't it? We read it and it just doesn't relate to us today. It sounds silly. But I reckon that this is just how Jesus wanted this one to sound. I think we miss the point of this mini parable if we look at it with solemn, deep and meaningful eyes. It's kind of a cartoon that Jesus is creating. And think of it in cartoon terms. Sort of, tonight, just for this next few minutes, let your imagination go a bit crazy. Unhook it from church. You know, who comes from who comes from the Methodist tradition? Put your hand up. Okay, we weren't allowed to imagine anything, were we? No? Okay, who comes from the Roman tradition? The Catholic tradition. You weren't allowed to imagine too much there, were you? You know, you had to do as you're told. And pretty much most of the traditions that we all come from, because we are a people in MCC from all over the place, you know, we've never been really free to imagine until we came to MCC. And now we're being asked to imagine all sorts of crazy things. Imagine a church where everyone's welcome, without exception. Imagine a church where people of different faiths can come together and feel at home. When me as an old Methodist, I'm not confronted by the Roman Catholic brothers and sisters here, and the Roman Catholic brothers and sisters aren't confronted by the evangelicals, and the evangelicals aren't confronted by the Presbyterians, and none of us are confronted by people who aren't of any faith. And we all embrace people from other faiths, don't we? Imagine that. That's crazy. That's crazy if you're a real deep and meaningful thinking Christian from the old days. So I want you to turn your imaginations off tonight, and I want you to think of this little reading that we just heard as a cartoon. Imagine a guy standing up to his waist down at St Kilda Beach, okay? Or Bell's Beach perhaps, trying to plant a mulberry tree. There with his shovel and his spade, you know, shovel and bucket and the tree, all in the, you know, bought it from Bunnings. Yeah, trying to plant it in the ocean. Hey, can you imagine that? You've got that little crazy picture in your mind? Okay. And like every clever cartoon, you know, behind the picture, there is always a serious point. In this cartoon, Jesus is challenging those who would follow him to start to attempt the hard and the clownish and the foolish things. Such teaching of Christ is for many impractical nonsense, but not for the disciples of Christ. For us, as disciples of Christ, this craziness is the way to go. This craziness is what faith is all about. I want to make 4 little comments first, before we get on to something more relevant to us right here. First of all, you know, in the original reading it actually said sycamore tree. Now, the sycamore tree that they were talking about in the Middle East is actually our mulberry tree. Yeah, so, you know, just that, most translations have now changed that. But the significant thing about the mulberry tree is that it has a very, very deep, large, spreading root system. And secondly, notice in the Scripture it says, Jesus told him to say to the tree, be planted in the sea. Planted in the sea. Not dumped, not thrown, not tossed, but planted in the sea. The Greek word that's used is the word fideo, I think I pronounced it correctly, and it's a common word for planting flowers and trees and vegetables and things like that. And the implication is that you expect something to grow and produce. So Jesus is not just saying toss the tree in the sea. Jesus is saying plant the tree in the sea with an expectation that something will happen, that something will come of it. And then there's the sea itself. In Jewish thought, the sea represents a primitive, untamable, alien force. The Jewish folk were very fearful of the sea. And the sea separated people. And to be lost at sea was most feared because it was thought to cut you off from any hope of resurrection. And even to this day, Jewish folk tend to be quite poor sailors because of that fear. And fourthly, and I love this little bit, it says, if you had faith. For Jesus, you see, faith is not passive. It's not some fatalistic acceptance of things, but it's an active, disruptive force. It is not resignation to whatever the stars decree. You know, how many Geminis have we got here? Yeah, I'm a Gemini. Yeah, come on, I'm a Gemini. You can be brave and put your hands up. Okay, how many Tauruses? You know, how many, what else have we got? Aquarians. How many Aquarians? There's a few of those around, us baby boomers, that's for sure. By birth or choice. You know, I could go on and on, but how stupid is that? You know, sometimes I'm on websites and you've got to put your name and stuff like that in and your month of birth and that, and it already pops up and tells you what sort of star sign you're. But there's no star sign that says Christian. And I don't know about you guys here, but the star I follow is the star of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. Not some crazy sort of astronomical, astrological craziness. So here we are, faith. Faith is not like some sort of, star declaration that's dumped on us at birth. Jesus' faith is a faith that is prepared to roll its sleeves up and get working at changing the world with God and for God. Faith is also not a lever to get God to do what we want. Who's been down that track? Come on, I have, Yeah, Robbie, it's nice to say, we'll be faithful. You just let me win the lotto, God. I'll go to church on Sunday. If you let me win the lotto or find a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend or whatever. The faith is not a lever to let God or to get God to do what we want, but it's a readiness to do what God wants. And you see, even a little faith, Jesus says, even faith as small as a mustard seed will have surprise. In the eyes of the secular world, faith is an exercise in improbability and craziness. Who's ever been to the dinner party? You get invited for dinner and they find out you're a Christian, or even worse if you're a vicar. And then there's always someone at the table who wants to prove how stupid you are. Who's been down that track? Yeah. And they try, and they try, and they try. And good luck to them. If they want to think it's stupid, that's okay. It's not stupid to me. It's not stupid to you folk here tonight. You wouldn't be here. And in the eyes of the cynical world, the world in which we live, particularly today, we're crazy. To the worldly scheme of what we're all about will seem impractical. A waste of time and effort, and we will always be seen by some as kind of like the clowns of God. They say there's nothing we can do. We say, let's give it a try. That's the difference. They say there's nothing we can do. We say, let's give it a try. Christians should be the people who dream up exciting ideas that to the cynics around us seem clownish nonsense in their calculated worldviews. We are called to put ourselves at risk. We should be asking the awkward questions, making the unpopular stand, trying to win the unwinnable contest with evil. We are called to give it a try, and if we fail, folks, to fail gloriously, to fail big, that's the big thing about being a Christian. You know, you can give it a go. And if you get it wrong, what does God do? Just catches you, lifts you up and says, have another go. We can fail with glory. No one else can do that, but we can. Our failure is when we don't give it a go in the first place. Maybe our motto should be, you know, that we have our church. You have it here too, when MCC Sydney, you have our faith statement and our mission statements and all that sort of stuff. Maybe we could sum them all up by clowns of faith by appointment to Jesus of Nazareth. How's that sound like a good mission statement for the church? Clouds of faith by appointment to Jesus of Nazareth. Planting trees in the sea is our true business. The clouds of God should be ready to go where the wise and the sophisticated disdain to tread. You know, I thank God in my history, not just MCC, but in the church in general. And I grew up the son of a Methodist minister, so church has been in my life one way or another. Even when I was rejecting it, it was still there. But I give thanks for those people that God empowered to take up the challenge. Those who are and were prepared to take the risk for the sake of Jesus. And in doing so, who inspired the rest of us. I remember the Mudgee Uniting Church. You know, I live in Mudgee, and often when I'm not in Sydney, I go to church. And we had a lecture about starving children in one of the African countries. I can't remember which one it was. And the children in Sunday school also had a talk about it. And a little 7-year-old girl, afterwards, she spent the whole week making up a box. And she decorated it and had a slot in the top. And she brought it to church the following Sunday, and she put it there right in when we entered the church, right in the front, next to the hymn books. She couldn't cure all the ills of Africa, but she could plant her small tree in the sea of general apathy that was us. And she did it. I remember when I was living in Cambodia, a monk who insisted that poor kids needed an education. And as a result of his insistence, as a result of him planting that thought in the seed, there are now 4 schools for the poorest of the poor children in Phnom Penh. And there's a story of a priest in Africa who faked a crime to get himself thrown into jail so that he could minister with agony status to those who needed him most. And that's planting in a very deep sea. What a clown. What a crazy thing to do. 45 years ago, Reverend Troy Perry said, let's start a church for all people, including GLBTI and confused people. That's about as big an example of planting something in the sea as you can get. How crazy was that? Reverend Willie White said the first time, said to Troy, well, Troy, if you do it, it's only going to be you and me at church. But look what happened. 45 years later, churches in nearly 30 countries around the world now. And 40 years ago, a small group said, let's plant something in the sea here in Melbourne. And 40 years ago, who wasn't around 40 years ago? Put up your hand if you weren't around 40 years ago. God bless our young folk. But it seems silly now, but you've got no idea how crazy that idea was 40 years ago. It was an unbelievably crazy idea. We had to plant this crazy church in Melbourne. 2 of those people are with us tonight. Malcolm and Melbourne. Did you all think it was crazy at the time, guys? Yeah, Malcolm's gone his head. And what happened 40 years later? Not all tree planting has to be as dramatic as these examples. Not all tree planting is about saving people in Africa or starting churches worldwide or starting local churches. Much tree planting is common stuff, and some happens very quietly and unobtrusively. I'm keenly aware of some of you in this congregation who have done your share of planting fruit trees in the sea. I think of Les and Nick and their music. I can almost remember all those years ago, Les, when you first started to bring your musical talents to this place, after years of the old pipe organ. And look what we've got tonight. You know, we're singing them old hymns. I think you picked them all for me tonight. But we're singing those old hymns and we're playing music. That's something planted in the sea. And look what's happened from that. You know, sometimes when we plant things in the sea, we appear to succeed, and at other times we appear to fail. But you see, common plantings, the things we do here in this place, do matter. I'm convinced that in the dominion of God, what appears like a waste of time is nearly always a success. The act of attempting the difficult for Christ is itself a glorious success. No brave act of faith is ever wasted in God's regime. When John Willis stood up here, the first pastoral leader of this church, he planted something in the sea. And so it went on. Some plantings worked. Some didn't work well at all. But that's okay. We've moved on. Often that which may not appear to bear fruit will fruit in ways we cannot discern. I bet Sue never thought she'd be pastoring MCC. No. I remember a young man that I used to cycle with many years ago. We used to do these crazy 100-mile cycle races, you know, with all the outfit, you know, the light road, all that sort of stuff. It'd be a tragic sight if I put it on today, I tell you. But David had been a Presbyterian, he'd been brought up a Presbyterian. And he'd been pretty well rejected by the church because of his sexuality. And we used to ride and we'd talk about faith, and I'd talk about MCC, and he never quite embraced the idea that he could ever go back to church. But I knew deep down that he had a yearning to reconnect with his faith tradition. And I realised that it wasn't going to be MCC, that it was for him that Presbyterian tradition. So I took a risk. And I phoned up the Presbyterian minister at Rose Bay in Sydney. Now that's a pretty conservative part of town, isn't it, Rob? And I said, look, this is who I am. I'm Reverend Greg Smith from MCC. And I've got this friend who's an old Presbyterian. He's gay. He's out. He's got HIV. And I know he would really love to come to church. Would you accept him in your church? And the pastor said, well, I would. I'm not sure about my congregation, but I would. So as we were riding a couple of weeks later, I sowed this little seed in David's mind. I said, David, why don't you pop down to the Rose Bay Presbyterian Church? It's not far from where you live, and I believe that the pastor there is quite a nice guy. That was a bit of a risk, because I'd only talked to him on the phone. He could have had horns for all I knew. Well, now David never said anything else about that. And about 9-10 months later, he got very sick and very quickly passed away. And I got a phone call from his partner who said, we're holding David's funeral next week at the Rose Bay Presbyterian Church. And I went to the church, and it was full of little old ladies with grey hair. And the other side was full with boys in leather. And there were a few lesbians on the other side. And they started playing that wonderful old hymn, Out of My Bondage. And I suddenly realised that that tiny crazy seed that I had planted had grown and blossomed, not just that David was able to find a faith home, but that community was able to embrace him. and nurture him in his final days. We never know what's going to happen. The founding members of this church had no idea what was going to happen. Today, we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, or where this church will be in 12 months, or 12 years, or 20 years, or 40 years, or 50 years, when it's full of people taking the pill to keep us alive. But I want to encourage you tonight to get clownish. How about we start all acting like clowns for Jesus? I've not seen that one before. I've seen all sorts of things for Jesus. But how about clowns for Jesus? How about some real clownish impudence right here? Down there in the seas with the spade in your hand. And in those places where others are negative and defeatist and stand around bemoaning the state of the world or the church, let us get on with Christ's tree planting program. Too many of us sit in the pews and whinge. Too many of us sit in the pews and complain. Oh, my church in Sydney, at times there are people there. I'm glad Alex is not here yet. There are people, it's not Alex, but you know, hopefully won't get back to everyone. There are people there I can grab by the neck and shake. Robert, is yours the same? You know, we sit around and we whinge and we complain when we should be out there up to our waists in the ocean with a spade in one hand and a bloody big tree in the other, and we should be planting and planting and planting, because if we don't do it, if we don't do it now, there will be no church in 20 years' time. That's the bottom line. And I don't know about you guys, but I know out there in our community, there are young people who yearn to find out what's missing in their lives. They search for it in clubs and bars, in back rooms. They search for it in the bottle and the needle. They search for what we know is missing. Faith. Even the tiniest bit of faith. And it's up to us to plant those crazy plants in those crazy places. And I think, you know, somehow deep down, that it's a lot more fun being a clown of God than sitting in the seat in the front row with a frown on your face. Does everyone agree with that? Can you get that? So MCC Melbourne, if you want to make your 40 years count, look forward, not back. If you want to make your 40 years worth something, look forward and not back. The past is gone. The past can do nothing other than inform us. The past can give us a hint about what we shouldn't be doing. But it should never hold us back and stop us standing waist deep in that sea with our shovel and our spade and our bucket and our tree from buckets. Because that's what church is about. That's what this place should always be about. It's what every MCC should be about. It's about being crazy clowns for Jesus. And planting ideas in stupid places. And if they don't flourish, too bloody bad. We'll celebrate that and we'll plant another one. But being clowns for Christ is about giving it a go. It's about embracing the unknown, looking forward with excitement and fun and wonder.